All right, what's going on, guys, and welcome to this episode of, I guess it's a Tasty Cast, but this is our yearly Game of the Year discussion we do every year, where we talk about our picks for our Game of the Year individually and our two runner-ups, games that weren't quite Game of the Year, but pretty close. As you guys can see, everybody's joining me today outside of Chris. Would have been cool to get him on here, but we didn't get him on here. But we got Sarah to my left, your right. We got Cody joining us. We got Chevy, and we got Josh. How you guys doing? How you doing, Sarah? You haven't been on in a while.
Good.
You doing good? You excited to have this conversation?
Yeah.
You got your Game of the Year and everything all picked out?
Sure do.
Hell yeah. Cody, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here. Glad to talk about the Game of the Year titles. I'm excited to just talk about video games.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you back on because you're a rare treat around here.
Hey, that's like how I like to keep it.
We love having Cody on the show. Josh, how you doing?
Doing well. I'm excited to talk about the Game of the Year. As much as I thought that the year wasn't, that great for gaming, holy shit. As I was going back through the list, it was just full of, bangers. So
yeah,
I'm excited to talk about them and see what you guys think.
There's this thing that happened this year where we had a bunch of great games right in the beginning, and then at the very end of the year we had a bunch of great games, but in the middle we had this lull, and everybody kind of forgot it was a pretty good year for gaming. There's a lot of really good games that came out, so yeah, I kind of felt like that too for a while. It's like, was this a good year? And then at the end of the year I was like, oh yeah, it was. So especially in the last day or so when I was doing research on my picks, I was like, a lot of games did come out this year, so it's pretty crazy. But yeah, we're glad to have you back on, Josh. Of course, always great to have you. And then Chevy, you're on here all the time, so it's really good to see you still.
I live here.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm always here.
I'm all right. Not used to my environment when it comes to filming, but I can see you guys this time at least.
Let's just jump into it. So this is an interesting year where obviously two games were very prominent in the conversation when it comes to Game of the Year. And so there's a good chance somebody here is going to be picking one or two of those games when it comes to their Game of the Year runner-up. And so what we're going to do this year is we're going to start with our Game of the Year. We're just going to start right out the gate, announcing our Game of the Year, and then we're going to talk about our runner-ups. And what I qualify runner-up as is games that almost were Game of the Year, but not quite. It can be however you want to do it. One can be, your first runner-up and second runner-up, like one's better than the other one, or they're both equal. But we'll be discussing those after our Game of the Year reveal. But yeah, that's how we're going to do it. And then we got a couple little subcategories we're going to talk about after our picks. But let's just jump in. Let's see. Who are we going to start with? Let's go with Josh. Josh, what was your Game of the Year for 2022? Best game across the board? Go.
Well, this probably comes as no surprise, but it's going to be Elden Ring.
Ooh.
Elden Ring we all knew it was coming, but it's at the same time it kind of came out of left field. It was definitely a kind of a shot in the dark. It completely kind of upturned, open world games in a way that I haven't played an open world game like that since the earlier Elder Scrolls games where it doesn't really hold your hand. Exploration is what was key. That's what drove you forward. You look at something in the distance and go, I don't know what that is, and then you go find it out.
Mm-hmm.
All while keeping the same kind of play style of From Software, Dark Souls, a little bit of Sekiro in there. It was a masterpiece. I had a good time with it. Went through it twice with two different kinds of characters, and there's still many more versions of characters that I could go through it with. And probably stuff I still haven't found yet and or done. So, because it still has the same complicated ass, NPC quest lines, multiple endings. So, fighting the demigods like Millennia and Moog. So it's packed full of stuff. It just kind of just hit the ground running, and it was one of the complete games right out the gate.
Mm-hmm.
So I have really nothing but good things to say about it. Other than I'm excited for DLC.
Yeah, for sure. Which I know they just released that update that has the Coliseum, so that's a good start.
It's just multiplayer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be very curious to see how they support that game because of the the overall reception of the game has been very good. So I feel like they'd be really stupid not to go like full on and do more than they've ever done when it comes to support for that game. So I'm looking forward to it as well.
Sure.
But yeah, that's it.
All right. So game of the year for 2022 for Josh is Elden Ring. Big surprise. Not really, but makes sense. Makes sense to me. So let's jump over to Sarah. Sarah, what is your game of the year for 2022? The best game ever in 2022.
No pressure.
My pick for game of the year was Elden Ring.
Okay.
Also,
Nice.
I big fan of like open world games already. So the kind of what you get from software game, like that world in an open world, really kind of checked all the boxes for me. I really like that it doesn't hold your hand. I like the way they approach storytelling. It's so much of it is just what you make it, and those are always my favorite types of games. So I feel like this was an easy pick for me.
Yeah. Anything else?
That's what I got.
All right. So that is another game of the year 2022 for Elden Ring. Not a big surprise. So let's jump over to Cody.
Right.
Game of the year 2022.
I'm gonna switch it. Elden Ring is actually my first runner-up, but which is a close second to this one. But God of War.
Okay.
I just beat it, and I'm coming from. I just had replayed the first game, and then going right into this game, and it's just it's fucking wild how good our movie-like games have become.
Oh, yeah.
This is like the pinnacle for games. Elden Ring, the storyline for that game was amazing. The entire world was built by George R.R. Martin, which is crazy that he just made all the lore up. And that game has a good storyline, but this is like AAA action. I mean, now that they're making a movie of God of War, it kind of makes sense. But this is kind of like I don't know. This is where games, the very tippy top of where we've gone to for AAA games, and it deserves all the game awards it's gotten, and it is my game of the year.
Yeah. I'm saying Elden Ring. God of War is,
God of War.
as I've said a couple times, the pinnacle of where AAA is at right now. That doesn't mean it's the best and greatest game ever, but as of right now, there is not a game that excels at what it does more than God of War's done. It is the tippy top of AAA. And so, like, it's a really hard game to beat when it comes to, even during the Game Awards, all the nominees that it had, I always kind of just was like, God of War's going to win. God of War's going to win. Because, like, the other games did great, but they didn't do as good as God of War. So, like, what do you pick? The one that fucking won, and it was God of War. So, yeah, that's not surprising at all either that you would pick that, because, like, it's just such a high-quality game. So well done. Combat's really good. All that stuff. So
it's funny. There's just like all the characters have their own. You care about every single character that's in it. I mean, just the way that they do, just the mythology and everything around it. There's some, the stuff that they kind of, lean towards in certain ways. It's not super accurate in some senses, but it's the way they tell the story and all the characters interact with each other. It's like a movie. I mean, so it's just that you get to like also play, and the combat's amazing and tight.
Combat's really good.
And it's just like, it's just fun. Everything is just fun to play, especially on the PS5 controller, everything, all the haptic stuff. And it just feels really, really good.
And you're like fresh off this too, because like you recently got the PS5. You're just recently playing and finishing God of War, so like you're like fresh off that game.
Yeah, and it's it's just it's an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah,
it's just intense.
And the giant set pieces are just crazy, like just out of the like it's fucking
exactly.
big imagination shit. I was gonna start talking about it, but like I realized people watching this might not have beaten the game. I don't want to spoil it for them.
Probably
So.
not. Yeah, it's really fresh, but I mean, it's just another one of those games like the first game, which I already played. It's very rare now that I go back and play games. I like to keep things. I don't know. I'm kind of old school in that sense where I like to, it'd be years before I come back and play a game again. Like I usually kind of just like to play it once and kind of let it ride. But it's just one of those games where you could just easily just new game plus. You know what I mean? Same sort of thing. Just wrap right back into it and play it again. So
Yeah.
I'll definitely be playing this a couple times. So
Yeah, I want to hop back in and do essentially what Chevy did. Chevy platinumed the game, so he did everything.
hell
But there's
yeah.
like a lot of like
Very
little
nice.
extra things in that game that I didn't do that I want to go back and play. So it's definitely not a game just to experience the story. Definitely is that, but it's
Yeah.
also just a fun game to explore and play, and the combat's really great. So
yeah.
yeah, anything else on that?
No, that's
All right.
it.
So we got 2 Elden Rings for Game of the Year. We got a God of War. I'm actually really glad to hear it's not just a complete wipe with Elden Ring. So we'll go with Chevy for your pick for Game of the Year of 2022. Is it Elden Ring?
It is in fact Elden Ring.
Oh,
Damn.
And I'm not going to go through all the reasons. I think the game is great. I'm just going to be regurgitating what everyone's heard online. I'm just going to say the things that kind of stood out for me on that game was specifically, I struggle with open world games really bad because you just kind of find yourself wandering around. And though, that's kind of the point, I also end up just not beating these games because of that. Biggest thing I like about Elden Ring is when I am just aimlessly wandering around in the world, there's something to find that's always rewarding. And so I don't feel like I'm wasting my time just wandering around in that game. I also just really love the type of fantasy it is. It feels like being in a pen and paper game, and I love it. The music is fantastic, and it hits at the right moments. Like it'll be calm, quiet the whole time. Then you get into a stressful fight, and the music just amplifies that, twofold. So, really, really enjoy it. I've also put over 200 hours in the game, so it's like obviously something I enjoy playing. Even if I just kind of hop on a different character and just kind of fuck around for a little bit, it's never a bad time. So, yeah, the only thing I wish they would do, which obviously some people are conflicted on, is I wish I had just had proper multiplayer. But I've been saying that for every Souls game ever. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with
they
that.
like to make it hard.
yeah,
Make you work for
I
it.
play the modded version anymore to play co-op, but
Yeah.
Everything's hard in that game, even the multiplayer.
Yeah.
yeah, nothing but hoops to jump through.
Just feels
But,
like you're alone.
Yeah, it's completely doable, but there's like some small hurdles that are really easy to do, but like it's just kind of gets in the way of like dropping your fingy to get people to
Yeah.
to hop in.
Find my finger.
a lot of the systems make sense in the past because like you could only summon in certain areas,
Yeah.
and like that's almost non-existent. Like it's still kind of that
There's
way.
a
but
loading
you can
screen for
summon
everything.
almost everywhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even if you summon someone, they get desummoned for whatever reason, you can immediately resummon them. So it seems just like a pointless step.
Yeah, it feels like it's more there because of tradition and not because of like,
Yeah.
at the time when they were making the older games, they thought of it and it made sense for that game. But in this game, they pretty much let you play through the whole thing with your friend, but they're just keeping that tradition around. But the tradition is shallow now at this point. It's like, why is this here? It doesn't need to be anymore. And of course, purists are like, well, that's just how it is. And it's like, but you can still play it multiplayer. Like you can do everything in that game multiplayer. So it's just like, just give proper multiplayer, like, evolve it a bit. So,
Yeah, the other plus I'll give to it as well that I don't really see in a lot of games is I think they handle spellcasting like really, really well.
yeah.
When you're playing a spellcaster, whether it's faith or sorcery or whatever, it feels very unique and very like grandiose when you're casting some of these spells, especially like a lot of the faith ones with being able to just throw lightning all over the field, or like do something as simple as just create a lightning bolt in your hand and throw it like you're Odin or whatever. So I don't know, I just don't get that experience anywhere else. So
Yeah, when you talked about the pen and paper thing, I agree as well. Like when I first started playing it, I said that it was like the closest thing to like a D&D game there is. And of course there's D&D games. And I was told that when I said that on
True.
TikTok. People are like, are you fucking serious? Baldur's Gate exists. And I'm like, I know, but I'm talking about like in a third person action game. This is the closest thing that I'm experiencing to being in a diverse party of different classes that feels like, a dark fantasy world. And so I agree with that as well, because it offers that. It's like something I can't get anywhere else. There isn't a third person open world fantasy game with like these big epic boss fights and like people using like magic and whips and swords and all sorts of different shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like it has a truly unique feeling that you cannot get somewhere else. And so that point, I've made it as well. It resonates with me. I still hold on to that. It's the closest thing to like a campaign in pen and paper. I'll say pen and paper, not D&D, so people aren't like Baldur's Gate.
Pen and paper.
Yeah, it feels like a pen and paper campaign, and the fights, it's a From Software game, so fucking the boss fights are epic, and that you can share that with your friends. They're still pretty. I mean, they get pretty easy later, but it still feels big and epic and awesome. So yeah,
For sure.
yeah.
That's my pick, though.
All right, all the Elden Rings. Makes sense. Okay, so everyone's gone except for me. My game of the year for 2022. This was really hard because I think 2 games exceed every single other game this year easily. There's a lot of great games I played this year. A lot of great games. I really enjoyed a lot of the games I played, but 2 are just like so good that nothing comes close to them. And I do regret a couple games I didn't play that might have came close, but can't talk about those now. So yeah, my game of the year for 2022 is God damn it, Elden Ring. Fucking threw anybody off? No. Elden Ring is my game of the year for 2022 easily. I knew it when I played it. As soon as I played, I was like, this is game of the year this year easily. This might be game of the year in the last 10 years. It's like that good. But yeah, shout out to God of War. It's fantastic. It was really hard for me to make that decision, but that feeling never left when I was playing Elden Ring throughout the year, returning to it. It just offers an experience that like feels familiar if you played a From Software game, but also feels bigger, grander, and more epic, and has evolved to something that, as I kind of stated before, just is something you just don't get anywhere else. I think maybe my hang up with not giving it to God of War is God of War is the sequel to the last game, and I kind of expected what I got from it. Not the story, of course, but like the gameplay, and I loved it. But I felt like I was playing the continuation, whereas like Elden Ring is like a new IP, even though it's obviously a Dark Souls game. It plays very similar to Dark Souls. The new world, the new bosses, the music, the way you make your characters, the spells, the magic they did in this is so much better than From Software's done before. Way more compelling. But I think the thing that Elden Ring really nails, that I think like 99% of games don't nail, is the natural desire to want to progress and explore without the game telling you to do it. The game just puts you in the world, and you look at the world and you just go, what's over there? And of course, you could maybe argue a game like Skyrim that came out a long time ago might have something like that as well, but that has like waypoints. It's also telling you where to go. You can do whatever you want, but like the game's a little more guided. This game is just like, figure it out yourself. Go explore. The world's full of shit to find. Huge variety of items, weapons, all sorts of stuff, mystery, adventures, dungeons to go through. Every time I entered like a cave or a dungeon, I was like, oh shit, I have no idea what's going to be in here. And that natural unraveling of the world. And I wasn't looking online at anything. I was playing this when it came out. There's no info, and as info was rolling out, I wasn't looking into it. It's just that natural feeling of exploring this world I've never experienced before, with amazing combat, amazing boss battles, a visual aesthetic I fucking love. I mean, it's a From Software game. I love all the way their games look, but like this one just has such a cool look to it. And then the multiplayer. The multiplayer is a fucking blast. I know early on people were like, well, that cheapens the experience. I'm like, no. I'm having fun. That doesn't cheapen it for me at all. Like, I beat most of the bosses by myself anyway, but when I hopped into someone else's game and we're playing together, I'm like, this is a fucking blast. Going through dungeons, someone you're playing with gets killed by a trap and it's like, oh shit, like just instantly, or like during a boss battle. There's just so much they did right with this game. And I never thought about time when I was playing this game. I was completely compelled by it. Sometimes, I'm me. Everyone knows me. Like fucking, I'm hopping games a lot. This game I was like completely addicted to when I was playing it. And yeah, I could gush and gush and gush. This game just is so good, so intricate. They took everything that they did in Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Bloodborne, and they put it on an open world level, and they did it in such a responsible and awesome way that feels big, bold, and open world, but also has that From pedigree of like intricate pathing that leads back to where you were just at earlier. Dungeons feel like, zones in a Dark Souls game. It's just so fucking well done. It's such a good game. It's like legit one of the best games I've played in like 10 years. I've been saying that all year, but like I still stand by that. Like I can't think of a whole lot of games in the last 10 years that I felt like this fucking passionate about in terms of like, I guess arguably like a single player experience, even though you can play with people. But yeah, Elden Ring, easy. It's just interesting to have thought that when I first played it, and then throughout the year, it just never left my mind. Till this moment, I was like, it's game of the year. Like, it has to be. It's that fucking good. But then I beat God of War Ragnarok recently, and I was like, that's also really fucking good. So it was rough. But yeah, got to give it to Elden Ring. Fantastic game. Really good.
Here, here.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, everyone except for Cody picked Elden Ring. I'm glad he actually picked God of War because we need that fucking difference. But I think everyone here appreciated it for sure. So it's just funny because like,
Hell yeah.
I looking online, everyone's kind of all over the place on that because so I asked a bunch of people on my TikTok about what their pick for game of the year was, and it's really interesting because throughout the year I've been hearing a lot of people saying Elden Ring, Elden Ring, Elden Ring, which of course I agree with, but I can't tell anybody like, oh yeah, you're right. But when I asked them, I think it was like a day ago, I asked them, the mass majority of people said God of War, which I thought was really interesting. A lot of people are like God of War, and a lot of people feel like it got stolen, the Game of the Year award stolen from it by Elden Ring, which I thought was really interesting. So
I didn't think that at all. I mean, I thought Elden. Oh
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just thinking, like, just, for me personally, that was for my game of the year. But when Elden Ring got all that praise, it would just seem like God of War was kind of steamrolling through most of the, the categories anyway. So if Elden Ring, that one, Elden Ring should have gotten, either game of the year or something. There wasn't a like best performance or anything like that for it. So the fact that it won kind of just like made it so the two parties got their due. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like they're both. You know what I mean? Everybody was happy.
no, that's a great way to look at it.
Yeah.
Because God of War won like all the awards except for Game of the Year,
exactly.
and of course they want that because that's like the big title, but like or the big award, but they steamrolled everything else. If you're up against God of War in like almost every category, they got it. And I saw somebody actually talk about this. This wasn't somebody who responded to me on TikTok, but it was a video of a guy talking about how he was naming off every single award that God of War won. He's like, it won this. Elden Ring won Game of the Year? And I'm like, well, they didn't have categories for best boss fights. They didn't have categories for best level design. They didn't have categories for like best combat. Like... So like it didn't have categories to win there. So anyway, I'm kind of in the same boat though. I was kind of open to anyone winning because like this was really hard for me to pick as well. And so like if it was Elden Ring, God of War, even if like Plague Tale Requiem, or like even if Stray won, I would have been happy because like there's a lot of really good games that came out this year. But yeah, when it came down to it, I knew it'd be God of War or Elden Ring, and I would have been fine either way because they both deserve it. They're both great games. So
It's interesting.
It really makes-
they're, sorry.
Go ahead, Sarah.
It's interesting because they're two like very different games. Like they approach things so differently. So that they both came out this year and that they both, were received so well. I think it's an interesting conversation to have. I know everyone on, wherever is like just arguing about it, but. Like if you're open to having the conversation, like I think it's interesting that they're two different games and they excel in different ways, but they're both good games. I don't think there's a wrong answer between the two of them, you know, which one's better, or which one's game of the year, or who deserves what.
Well, that's been the thing I've been enjoying talking with the community here on YouTube and over on TikTok is like the people who come to have these conversations with us are a little more nuanced and open-minded and want to have these conversations. So like a lot of times people are like, I want God of War to win. But a lot of them are like, I don't even care the Elden Ring one though, because like they recognize it's a great game and vice versa. But yeah, you do see some people like legit upset about it. I'm like, I don't know how you can be like, you can't recognize these are both great games. Like it's wild. Like I'm so like whatever about it. Like another game could have won. And I'd be like, dude, yeah, these are like all stellar games. So,
Yeah.
but we're not here to talk about the Game Awards necessarily, but.
No, but I think it's also some things to probably take in consideration is like God of War's come out so recently, and I'm not trying to take this away from God of War. I'm of the same mindset. Like either both games deserve it, like 100%. But I do think there's going to be some recency bias when it comes to God of War. I do also think it's important to note that God of War is on one platform and Elden Ring is on multiple platforms. So more people got their hands on it. More people had access to this game.
True.
Which just speaks to Sony exclusives and how much they can impact everything on one console. I guess later they come out on PC, but not in this case.
Well, it's a sequel too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's and also like, you know, you can have your game of the year, and if the entire world picks something else, that shouldn't change what your favorite game is.
Shout out to the Xenoblade Chronicles fans. They are diehard, and anytime anything ever takes the award from Xenoblade Chronicles, they're like, this is a fucking scam. And I love Xenoblade Chronicles too, so like I get it, but those guys are fucking diehard about that series. It's good. It's
That's
good
their
series.
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, I don't think there's any like wrong answers when it comes to this. Even beyond these two games, shout out to the unfortunate game that is Horizon Forbidden West, and shout out to the game before that, which was Zero Dawn. Both those games, if you want to talk about games that got robbed, I wouldn't say they got robbed, but they came out in unfortunate years. They got to plan those years better because no one talked about Forbidden West. Nobody. Yeah. It didn't win an award.
No.
Like nothing. And it's not even
sad.
It's not even a fucking bad game. It's one of the highest quality games of the whole fucking year. It's one of the best games that came out, like in terms of like quality. And like nothing. It's wild twice now. I feel bad for Santa Monica when it comes to that.
Santa Monica?
Not Santa Monica. I don't feel bad for them. They're doing great.
Yeah, I was say.
Gorilla.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. No, they're doing fine. I feel bad for them because they didn't win Game of the Year. Poor them. Yeah. So anything else you guys want to say when it comes to Game of the Year? Nothing. Okay. Well, Elden Ring. Everyone loves you, but God of War as well. So, all right. So let's move into our. We'll just call it our first because it's the first of the two. First runner-up, which, like I said before, is a game that stood out beyond the rest of the games of the year, but just wasn't Elden Ring or God of War. Yeah, so let's do that. This time, who we start with last time?
Well, I can go first because Elden Ring was my first runner-up anyway, and
he already revealed it.
Yeah, you revealed it. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I already did. So I'm like, fuck it. You guys can talk about it after years after. But yeah, that game. I mean, other than the fact that it was just so big, and it's just one of those games where there's just so much to do. And for me personally, I come back to those games like a lot. Like for Dark Souls, especially like Dark Souls. I mean, I'm just gonna go back to Dark Souls 2 when that game first came out. Like I was going back to that game like years after the fact. So I will still be playing Elden Ring for a long time to come. And I did beat it. But that game to me, it just kind of falls into this category of just, again, games that I just keep coming back to, almost like how like some of you guys play MMOs and things like that, and like those are my types of games. Like those are my happy places. Those are where I go and I play those games. So as far as like game of the year when I play, I'm just always drawn to these like more epic like movie type s games.
You want the big
Personally.
story to be
Exactly. And
revealed or told.
that's basically, and not that, I mean, Elden Ring had a great story, like I said, but it was more like an interactive.
It has a great story if you're not
yeah.
opposed to hopping over to YouTube and deciphering it with the rest of the community.
Like all, From Software games. And,
Exactly.
And which are good, those are great things to fall asleep to. I do that too. I love the lore in all the games. I do. I love
taking
that
a nap
shit.
to Dark Souls.
Fucking yeah, dude. Hell yeah. But
I have crazy dreams listening to that music.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. But yeah, that's why it's a runner up. It's a close runner up because, like I said, the replayability is there. The music's awesome. I mean, it's everything. It's a swan song to all those different games that came before it, and alludes to what is for the future. So anyway, yeah, runner up.
All right, so it was a close one for you with those two games. I'll go next.
Yes.
Just because I'm going to go the exact opposite. My first runner-up and almost game of the year is God of War Ragnarok. If Elden Ring didn't come out, it would easily be game of the year. Nothing even comes close to it in terms of what it offers. It's one of the best-looking games I've ever seen. It's a huge epic. It continues a story that I love from the last game. I love what they've done with the new games, and this just continues that with Kratos evolving as a character, Atreus evolving as a character. Let's just put it this way: new ways to play the game, new varieties in gameplay for anyone who doesn't want spoilers. Which really, Josh kind of brought this up when we did our full review. Not a spoiler. He kind of said it was kind of like God of War 2.0, and I don't fully disagree with that in the sense that it does feel like the last game, but everything is kicked up, not just a notch, in a big way. Combat is better than it's ever been. There's more ways to play. There's more, I'll say companions, I guess, in certain parts of the game. Bigger world, more places to go, more variety in enemy types. The story is just bigger than the last game in a lot of ways. I can't talk about it because it's so fresh, but I want to. More characters introduced. Like, they just really grew everything from the last game, and it really it paid off. Like, Santa Monica is a super fucking talented dev with great writers. The performances in God of War are fantastic from Christopher Judge and everybody else. Even though that guy gave a fucking he was giving a performance at the Game Awards, talking for like 9 minutes with that speech. He was just like giving a lecture apparently. He's been funny about that on Twitter too. He's like, he's cracking jokes about it with people and laughing.
That's good.
Yeah, because I was like, holy shit, that's crazy, but he gets it. But yeah, God of War Ragnarok is just really fucking good. And it's an example. Sometimes in the overall gaming conversation, sometimes we can start talking shit about like, oh, games come out, they're unfinished. Games come out and have problems. Blah blah blah. They're money hungry. Everything's DLC, and that pretty much comes right in line with big AAA games, because the greediest companies, the biggest companies, make the AAA games, and they exploit their customer base. Well, this game doesn't, and it is the absolute pinnacle of AAA in every way. The way it's built. And it does not exploit its audience. It does not think they're idiots. Respects them, and it gives them something even better than the last game. And yeah, it would easily have been my game of the year. But Elden Ring's just really fucking good.
A little too good.
Yeah, a little too good. All right, so that's my first runner-up, and easy pick. Let's go with Chevy next when it comes to your first runner-up.
I have a feeling there's gonna be a theme here, but my almost game of the year was God of War Ragnarok. As you mentioned before, I platinumed it. I don't do that. Like, I beat a game and I usually just move on to the next one. This one I was compelled to just play it until I had nothing left to do in the game. So fantastic everything like in the game. The gameplay is great, the music's great, the story's great. Uh, the way they handle cutscenes and whatnot is really good. The humor's in the right spots. One of my favorite moments is when the squirrel, what's his name? Help me out here.
I forget, but I know exactly who you're talking about.
Rata something.
Oscar, or something like that.
Ratatosker,
Yeah.
Ratakos, something like that.
Yeah, if you ring the bell next to him, he'll have this whole like. Occasionally, he'll be like, "Okay, yeah, I get it. You're ringing the bell. Oh, it's weird because it's this nice sound, and it's strange that the Kratos, the God of War, would be into it." And finally, it's like, it's not that the bell's like right next to my ear or hurts or anything like that. And eventually, he just yells at you to stop ringing the fucking bell, pretty much. So, um, stuff like that, I like. They didn't have to put that in. That's completely just for fun. So. They just kind of covered all bases, and I really enjoy that. There are a couple parts of the game that I've heard people say run a little long. I think everyone here knows what we're talking about. I don't want to get you into the story details of it, but
Things that
but that's,
that
like, really-
distract from what people are coming to this game for.
yeah,
Are we talking about that?
But yeah,
Okay.
when you're doing the other bits, I don't know
Yeah.
how else to say it without spoiling. But it's such a minor complaint in the grand scheme of the game. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. If Elden Ring came out and was just like a normal Souls games for me, I probably wouldn't have picked it. But because somehow Elden Ring managed to get me into a Souls game, it just kind of edged over. Because by all rights, I probably should have picked God of War.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, good pick. I obviously agree with you, but let's jump over to, we'll go with Josh this time on your first runner-up for 2022.
Spoiler alert, God of War isn't even in my runner-ups.
Oh, that's fun.
So my first runner-up is Horizon Forbidden West.
All right.
I think for open world games, this game is triple A as can be. I think the performances were great, minus a few personality traits I didn't vibe with well. I think this game is, and the only reason this game didn't take Game of the Year is because this game is very much an open world checkbox game. Where you're just kind of just move on to the next thing, move on to the next thing, and Elden Ring just wasn't. It kind of blew all that out of the water. But Horizon Forbidden West, I loved how you can change the map. Different things happen at different times. You're literally going all the way across to the Forbidden West. But visiting ancient cities, fixing them in some way. I'm not going to spoil it too much, even though the game's been out since February. February. But
Early, yeah.
I feel like this game completely didn't get its due again.
Yeah, so what do you, I don't want to derail you too much, but what do you think about, since this is like your first runner-up, this is like a game that resonated with you a lot, what do you think about the lack of response to it?
I mean, I think it's expected. Elden Ring is such a, like you said, a once in a decade, once in a generation kind of a game that you can't, anything could have been there, I think, and it would have been overshadowed by it for the most part. Like if you were to switch God of War with Forbidden West, due to the, like Chevy was saying, the recency bias, I think that Forbidden West may have had a better shot than it did.
I think it's the perfect example of how recency bias works for a game that typically isn't Elden Ring, right? Like most games, if they're released early on, people forget about them.
Yeah, so, and I just think that, God, for how beautiful it is, it plays well, it's fun. They completely just blew everything out when it came to, weapons, skills, and all that compared to the first one. I got nothing but mostly good things to say about this game, and that's why it took my runner-up of the year.
I'm actually really stoked to hear anybody talk about it, so I'm glad it's here. We have somebody who it resonated with that much. Yeah, very cool to hear. Let's see, we got Sarah left. All right, Sarah, what was your first runner-up?
My first runner-up was Stray.
Okay.
I really liked Stray. It's a cool little platformer, which is just something I like already. But the thing that really stuck with me for Stray is, I mean, without like giving away too much of my life, but I work with animals, and so cats. I like cats, but they do such a good job of like really capturing what it's like to be a cat and like cat behavior and just all these like really subtle things that I feel like maybe you know, even regular people might not notice, that it's just kind of like a level of attention to detail in that game that just really stuck with me. Yeah.
My favorite thing about that game is, well, first off, it's visual charm. It's sci-fi. Yeah. It's really intriguing with all the robots and the world that you're like unveiling on what happened to the humans. But you're also playing as a cat, which is just another interesting and charming thing. But and really interesting mix in that world as you explore it. But the thing I really like about that game is it was obviously made by fans of cats for fans of cats. They could have just made a platformer that people have been making since Sega Genesis, since fucking Nintendo, where you just play as an animal character. But they wanted this to be identifiable cat that anyone's ever been around that does cat things. And those small details they didn't have to add to the game, but they did because they like cats, and they want people who like cats to go, oh yeah, you don't even get anything. You don't get XP, you don't get fucking items or anything like that when you do things. You can just go take a nap, you can go play with things, and these are things that people with actual cats like to see their cats do, and so they're doing it in the game, and so it resonates. And me and Chevy talk about it all the time on the show, but little things you don't have to do when you do them is appreciated, because it showed that you're passionate about it. You didn't go, well, we don't need to do that. It would save us time and money if we didn't do that. And for like a small indie game, fucking awesome.
Yeah, and you know, the kind of added other elements of it, like the sci-fi, like kind of like cyberpunky feeling of it, is also something that I really appreciate. A game about like cats and robots is like right up my alley. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and it's one of those games that like I was thinking about even after I beat it, like for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something to say about short, tight experiences that like
I
don't think really get a whole lot of their due. A lot of people just go, well, how many hours is this? And then, you know, they equate it to how much money they want to spend on it or anything like that. But something like Stray, where you're just like fucking with the robots and knocking their fucking board game off the table, and then, you know, you're doing the standard cat shit where you're walking along a counter and knock something else off of it, you know, to scratching and laying down, and it's short little charming experiences that just I don't think get a whole lot of their due when it comes to big game of the year discussions, because they're just because everybody looks at stuff, you know, production per square inch, you know, like God of War, you know, that game's packed full of it, but so is Stray. Like it's just a different kind of experience. And to find it on Game of the Year charts, I think was compelling. It was interesting to see something like that.
At the very least, they showed it stood out to a lot of people, because I see it mentioned all the time in that conversation. We're talking about it right now. And so for like a small indie game that like really, if you take away the visuals, the intricate things they added to it, it's just a platformer. But the charm and the passion behind it is what sells the game. Even the story, which I liked, is pretty basic. And so like, yeah, it's all about just how much they wanted to convey this quaint experience that you're not getting anywhere else. So it really stood out. Also, next time Bisley's doing something and knocking shit over, and be like, stop doing that standard cat shit. Josh was like just doing standard cat shit. I'm like, stop doing that standard cat shit, fat lard.
There's like a level too of creativity I found in somehow managing to like make a game where you have to like interact with things and like get objectives done, and yet like you're still just a cat and you feel like a cat the whole time. It's not like, you know, suddenly you're like holding a gun or like, you know, whatever, like throwing something or like doing these behaviors that a cat wouldn't do. Like it is all very in line. Like they never stray away from it. They never stray away from you just like being a cat and like never compromising on that, just to like have a good game or like a compelling story in some other way. So
Good pick.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a really good pick. Yeah, anything else?
nope.
No? All right, so that's it for the first runner-ups, right? All right, all good picks. I'm still trying to figure out my second one, so I need a little bit of time. So I'm going to put you on the spot again, Josh, and I'm going to let you start us off with your second runner-up.
This is difficult. Because like I said, God of War wasn't even in my runner-ups.
Kind of love
But
that you're just like, fuck one of the most popular games this year. It's not on my list.
I mean, I got nothing but good things to say about it.
Yeah.
I just think I was impacted and vibed more with these two games. They're very much, you know, depending on what kind of day I'm having, it would switch these two. So my last runner-up is between Dying Light 2 and Modern Warfare 2.
Ooh.
It's a tie?
Yeah, I know. COD and Game of the Year's discussion. How wild. Dying Light 2 was just right off the bat, it was interesting. Being in the plague, or, you know, for it was like 20 years, set 20 years after when it started. So seeing like how nature regrew, and you're seeing big ass trees just rooted into the buildings on top of it. The exploration was fun. Playing it was a blast. I didn't really have any bad times with it other than a couple crashes. But for the most part, Dying Light 2 is just fun. Just a good, fun game to play. There's really not a whole lot like anything really much to say about it other than I just love the experience. And then Modern Warfare 2 was like, people will disagree with me on this, but for me, it was COD's back, baby. So it was just like the movement's awesome. I think the gunplay is good, the sound's good, and hands down, this has been the best COD since 2019.
Easily, yeah.
You know, we're not doing the fucking World War II shit or Cold War or anything. You know, it's just Modern Warfare, and it's just a good experience all around. Plus DMZ, I think, is a really good addition, and I think the campaign was actually one of the better ones that I've seen in years. So
Yeah, still need to play it.
So, like I said, it's not without its flaws. Every multiplayer game is, but it's definitely had an impact in what I thought about the landscape for this year.
Yeah. If one of those would edge out the other one, which one would you pick? Or is it just too hard to pick?
Dying Light.
Dying Light? Okay. All right. Yeah, that's fair, because my second runner-up is like, I think, 11 games. So I'm like, I'm trying to figure that out myself. So when you brought up 2 games, I was like, I get it. But, you know, if there's one specifically, so Dying Light 2.
Gun to my head, it'd be Dying Light.
Okay.
Just for the simple fact that it was, like, the multiplayer is even fun.
You got that shit on PS5, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I know, I was thinking I might pick it up. That was before I upgraded my computer, so
Yeah.
I really want to get
Yeah, a lot
Elden
changed
Ring.
this year for you, because you were like normal, playing on console all the time, and then you upgraded your PC, and now you're on your PC all the time, which I love. But I forgot it was this year that happened, because I was like, why the fuck didn't we play Dying Light 2? Because that game's fantastic, and it was because of that.
Yeah, it doesn't have crossplay either. It's fucking bunk.
Yeah, everybody fucking needs to have crossplay at this point. I'm so sick of like
True.
a good amount of games doing it now, and then like some games don't. I'm like, why? At this point, if people could do it easily, why can't you?
especially with a game like Dying Light, because not
Yeah.
necessarily like it's niche, but like, I mean, Dying Light would be better if its community was together.
Yeah.
So,
Any co-op game.
mhm. So I think that it was very much a missed opportunity there.
100%.
But yeah, gun to head, Dying Light 2.
But a strong, strong shout out to Modern Warfare 2. Which I get because, yeah, I agree. This is the best COD's been in a while, and the best COD had been in a while. Before it was 2019, and before that, there's a lot of meh going on for years. So, yeah, it's definitely a standout for COD, and definitely a revitalization for the brand, especially at the last two games where I was just like, I've been pretty lenient about these games. I'll play some of the weaker ones, but these are getting even weaker, and I don't know if I want to keep playing these. I legit wasn't even going to buy the World War II one until you talked me into it. And I was like, yeah, if you're gonna play, I'll play it. Fuck it. But I wasn't even gonna fucking buy it. So yeah, this game's definitely welcome. It's much better. All right, so that's your second runner-up. Nobody else has gone yet. Let's go with Cody.
All right. This one's coming out of left field, and just from how different it is from most of the games that came out this year, and plus it's been a long time since I've even played a rhythm game, but Metal Hellsinger.
Okay.
That game is also kind of in my wheelhouse, just as far as like games that I come back to and play. And that one is the content for what you're getting for a $40 game isn't as prominent as the rest of these games that are coming out, but I feel like there's still room for improvement. And like I said, it just came out this year, so there's still room there. But it was very fun. It's basically Doom it's a Doom metal rhythm game. Has a lot of metal singers from different bands, In Flames, Arch Enemy, a lot of these metal bands that I kind of grew up in high school listening to, and it's kind of nice to just have something different like that. It's very fast paced. So yeah, just on pure just gameplay alone, Metal Hellsinger.
It's really interesting because like that game, I mean, you obviously know me really well, especially when it comes to music. That's not really like my wheelhouse musically, and so like it's not a really big like pull for me. But like I saw the concept, I'm like, it looks pretty neat, and then like I saw it like nominated in a couple awards, and then I see it talked about on lists of like some of the best games of 2022. And I'm like, I keep telling myself like, is it actually like, is it just like a game for people who are into metal, or is it like actually a fun game? And it seems like people are saying it's just like a legit good game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I kind of
because most of the metal in it is just a little bit. It's kind of gimmick, or it's a little bit silly. You know what I mean? It's very like theatrical and opera-y, and obviously leaning towards that side. Most of the singers in the bands, they're kind of just a small part of the song. A lot of the songs are very just like epic and just ridiculous, but it's silly. It's silly fun.
Yeah, which I would expect from a game like that, where you're just running around shooting shit to metal. I mean, like, you want that camp to it, because if it's taking itself too serious, it would be almost a joke.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Kind of along the same realm as, like, Crypt of the Necrodancer, just those types of games that just offer a little bit. It's not a whole lot as far as, like, the things that you get. It's not like a roguelike or anything like that, but it's, it's fun. It's fun for what it is. Plus, like I said, it's just out of left field. It's just one of those games you can just keep coming back to throughout. So I played it a bunch this year. So
yeah, it's cool to hear. I kind of want to play it now because I just keep hearing good things about it. Now you're saying it's like your runner up. I'm like, well, shit. So
yeah, it also like scratches that itch. If I'm not mistaken, there's like a scoring system and stuff too, like
multiplier and
yeah. So it kind of does scratch that itch of like, I can do this better. I can do this better. I can do this better. And learning a level and learning a song, or however the hell you want to put it, and trying to get it tuned in to get the highest possible score. Kind of reminds me of like bullets per minute. If you guys ever played that.
Oh yeah, I heard of it. Never played it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was very much like just trying to get the highest score in like almost like a classic way. Guitar Hero. I mean, all rhythm games, but like Guitar Hero-ish, Rock Band, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it's nice to just play on mouse and keyboard too. It's like when you're playing those types of games, it's like I said, like playing Doom. You know what I mean? It's just like you get it fine tuned and you're just boom, boom, everything just, you know what I mean? It just has like, it flows so well, you know, in the game too. It's like multipliers in the game. You only hear a small percentage of the song. So you'll just hear like drums and bass like in the beginning. And as you hit a multiplier,
layers
then you
it?
get the guitars. Yeah.
Interesting.
And then it's just like, so then you only get to hear the singing if you get the max, which is basically like, you know, times 8 in Guitar Hero or whatever.
That's cool because
but
kind of
it's yeah.
seems like it would like
It's an
ramp up
incentive.
as you're doing better then, so it's going to get you more pumped
Exactly.
up while you're playing. That's
Yeah.
actually a pretty cool
Yeah.
design.
Yeah. So, but it's yeah, it's fun. So that's my second runner-up.
Cool. I'll have to check it out. So,
Yeah.
what's up, Josh?
I was thinking, actually, that game might be on Game Pass.
Oh,
if I'm
really?
not
Probably.
mistaken.
That might be the ticket for me then.
Yeah.
I
There you
pay for
go.
that shit, don't use it. So,
Yeah.
although I just started playing High on Life recently, so I'm getting some use out of it finally.
Oh yeah.
So
I really need to play that.
yeah, you
Same.
should. You should check it out. As long as you like that guy's humor, because I'm seeing a lot of people on Twitter just ripping that game apart. Like, it's not even funny.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, okay, a game like this, if you don't find that humor funny, doesn't mean it's not funny. It means you're not into that humor,
Yeah.
and the game is all about the humor, so it's not for you
Catering
for sure.
yeah.
But
To certain
like,
people.
I don't find a lot of things funny, and I'm playing this, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Oh, okay, that's funny. You know, still kind of, you know, judging it, but also going like, that's witty, that's funny. It's just so fucking
Yeah.
ridiculous a lot of the times,
Yeah.
and that's actually the type of humor I like a lot of times. Something just so fucking unneededly ridiculous that I'm just like, yeah, that's funny.
That shit piss thing
Yeah, it's
fucking
stupid.
makes me crack up
It's so
every
stupid.
fucking time.
He's just like, what are you doing? Oh, I pissed myself, and the shit mixing the piss, and now it's under me. Why are you looking at me? I hate you. Like,
Oh, he
it's
calls you a
just-
fucking pervert.
yeah, you fucking pervert. I hate you. Like, it's so stupid. Yeah. So we've done now Josh and Cody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go with Chevy for your second runner-up.
Okay. I struggled with this, but not for the same reason Seth's struggling with this. I struggled with this because I played almost nothing this year. So I kind of had to narrow down to what I played and honestly completed. So my second runner-up is Stray. It's a good game. I enjoyed it quite a bit. They did something that, you know, obviously really hadn't been done before. Sarah, you know, had mentioned like the nuances, the cat stuff. I think that also translates into like the puzzle solving aspect of the game, which I usually don't like puzzles, but it was a lot more fun when you had to do things, you know, under the constraints of like, you know, you're a quadruped, so you have to like, you know, wiggle things out of your way or intentionally knock things onto other things and whatnot. It was a good experience to go through. Plus, it was the right length for that type of game, because I do think you could drag that on too long and the charm would wear off. So I think they kind of nailed it in all fronts in that regard. I also like the setting a lot. I think I don't necessarily want to call them like the enemy, but the you know, the aggressive species on the planet as well was an interesting idea as well. Especially when you spend, you know, a lot of the game trying to avoid them. So I don't know. I think they did a good job in that. So
Yeah.
Okay, so did you finish? Just a real quick question. Did you finish Harvestella?
no.
Oh, I was gonna say, could that have possibly been a runner-up?
I mean, depending on how it ends. I
Excellent
think the
question.
gameplay is kind of simple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I know you were saying, you know, through Tasty Cast you've been playing it a lot, so I was just
I'm trying to beat it.
curious.
I do think the story, the direction is going super interesting. I do think the biggest holdup of the whole game is I think the combat is very, very, very basic. To the point of like it's my least favorite part of the game. So I enjoy everything else about it though. I haven't beat it. It's like, and it's an RPG. Kind of hard to rate an RPG without the ending.
That's true.
Yeah. Anything else? All right, Stray getting some love. Love it. I'm still trying to figure it out. So let's go with you, Sarah.
Wait, my third pick was Vampire Survivors.
Dang.
That come out this year?
Yeah, I forgot that game came out this year.
I think so.
So
Yeah.
It was at the Game Awards.
Yeah, I just thought it was last year for some reason.
Maybe there's like an early before release build. But anyway,
Probably. Here, sorry. But
Yeah, I picked Vampire Survivors. I think that it's one of those games, when I think back on games that I played this year and if I would play them again, and Vampire Survivors is a game I still play. It's a game I see myself continuing to play. It's so simple and yet engaging, and they just fairly recently released more content even. And I find the game super accessible. Like, it's one of those games that, when it came out, like, everybody on my friends list was playing it. And it's $3. It's just
financially
kind of
accessible.
insane, yeah. And even gameplay wise, it's just one of those things, like, it's so easy to play.
Just move the character.
You can play it. I mean, you can multitask while you're playing. You can do other things. Like, there's complexity in some aspects. I think we talked about this before, but a lot of variety, a lot of each run can be different depending on like what you're going for, or luck based even. So I don't know. I really like this sort of simple, engaging, kind of addictive gameplay of it, and I think it just, it's just fun. I just feel like I can play it, keep playing it.
It's too easy to play. You start playing it, you don't stop. You have to like go, oh yeah, I got shit I got to do in my life, and you just get up and go do that shit. But if as long as you're not thinking about it, you can just play that game forever.
Even
it's
with
so easy to just keep playing.
I feel like I could just like watch other people play it.
We did
too.
it.
Like,
Me and Josh just sat around for hours.
Yeah, exactly. Just like
switching out,
taking turns, and that was like suddenly 6 hours later or whatever, we'd been sitting there playing Vampire Survivors like together, like one computer, like the three of us playing.
And I fucking hate watching people play video games. And I was like completely just down. I was like, oh dude, what happens when you mix this with this? Oh dude, like get to do that thing. Like fuck, it was like completely engaging to watch. So
really
and
now
weird.
There's more that I haven't even had a chance to check out the new stuff yet. But
yeah, the support for that game has been amazing. I mean, that they released content, or the one person I think that makes it released payable. It's a pay for DLC now, right?
Yeah, it's called Curse of the Moonspell. It released Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah, not that long ago. That they finally released something that they're charging for is great, because they've been adding characters and shit since the game came out, and the game's already full of content.
Yeah,
like there's hours and hours and hours of gameplay in that game.
One of the reviews for the DLC is please charge more.
Yeah, everybody who fucking likes that
How
game
can I pay
wants
you
to
more?
give them. Yeah, it's how I feel with Deep Rock Galactic. I'm like, I love your game so much, let me pay you more. That game deserves it as well, because people take notes. AAA companies, when people like you, trust you, respect you, and they feel like you respect them, and you offer them games that they enjoy playing, not only will they buy your game, they'll fucking want to buy more from you. You don't have to trick them.
true.
You just create shit that they want and let them know, hey, we want you guys to have fun. We're not trying to trick you. Have fun. And then they're going to be like, oh my God, I love this so much. Let me pay you more. It's a great example of that. It's a $3 game.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Goddamn, that's a good. Actually, it went up to 5, and it did release this year because that's when they made the change, was from $3 to $5. But yeah, I knew this game was something special when, like I said, when we just sat taking turns playing like we were playing an NES when we were children. Like it was just. It was like,
100%.
Oh, my turn.
Yep.
I just had that charm, the fun to it, the real strong Castlevania like influence. We all know that's holy water. We all know that's axes. We all know, plus mixing them, trying to find out the recipes. Like, oh, we have that. I wonder what that does. And then, adding it to this and that, and then all of a sudden now there's coffins in each stage to get extra characters, and they all have their own shit, and they all bring in their own new weapons. Being able to actually kill
Achievement hunting.
kill death, and it was, yeah, it's one of the only games on Steam I've actually completed. Like, I was sitting there playing it because once you unlock everything, you unlock Sigma, which is just
You're always rewarded for everything that you do in the game, and that's like one of the most important things for me in gaming. Is like, I'm not a completionist. I don't get satisfaction completing a game. But if you incentivize completing everything in it by giving me things, even XP in a game, I'll do it all. Like, I just want something for it. And Vampire Survivor is so good in the sense that like every little thing you do in that game, you get a reward for. Something new, new ways to play, all sorts of shit. And then it all leads into, leveling all your stuff up so you become stronger. Like, it's a great gameplay loop.
yeah, it's a incredible hit for such a simple design. I think you put it best, Seth. You said it's cookie clicker. You're
Yeah.
just moving your character around while it just auto does everything.
Mm-hmm.
And as
Just a little more
much,
interactive, but yeah.
yeah, and as much as people go like, so you're not really playing it when you are, but like, it's more about the spectacle and the everything that's happening on screen. And soon, you can have a boss ass PC or PlayStation or whatever. I don't think it's out on PlayStation yet, but like there's times everything's flashing and you're slowing down because like there's just hundreds of people, hundreds of enemies on screen, and
Mm-hmm.
you have holy water and the Bible going and whips and shit, and it's just insane. Um, but no, I completely forgot that game released this year.
Yeah.
That's a good pick.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
one
it
thing.
was in
Good.
early access since like October last year or something like that. So I think that's why I kind of got thrown off by that. But yeah, it released 1.0 this year.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Counts. And it was one of the nominees for the Game Awards as well. So that's one of the reasons I even thought of it myself. 'Cause I was like, oh yeah, that like officially released. So yeah. One thing I want to add though to that conversation real quick, just as just to add some flavor to it. It's interesting because like I've listened to a couple podcasts talking about games that were at the Game Awards when it comes to the nominees, and there's a couple point of views I saw where people were saying that Vampire Survivors is too simplistic of a game, and also that a game that's just addicting but doesn't offer anything else, does that qualify as like a good game, good enough to be nominated? And I think people who have that mentality are masking that they just don't, they're not into the game with thinking that the game is only just an addictive game. They're not viewing it as how geniusly made it is, that it is such a simplistic looking and simplistically played game, but offers so much in terms of gameplay, hours of gameplay, unlocking things that change gameplay constantly, taking you all the way back to what a video game actually is, just gameplay, in such a minimal package that anyone can pick this game up. It's cheap, but also literally you can use your WSAD arrow keys, use the mouse if you're on a phone, because it's on phone now for free. You can just use your thumb and move around. It's so simple, so easy to get, and so many variations, variety of ways to play that it's not God of War AAA genius, but it's one guy indie creating something that a shitload of people have ripped him off because the idea is so fucking good, so fun to play that almost anyone can pick this game up and fucking enjoy it. And so does it belong? 100% it does, because it's a video game and some guy came up with an idea that is being just mimicked over and over and over again, because it's such a simplistic and minimal idea that just is effective, and you interact with it. It is cookie clicker in my mind, because you're just watching your score rack up and you're like, hell yeah. And that just dopamine of that drives a lot of that. But the constant evolution of the gameplay, the new characters you unlock, the new ways to play in such a simplistic way is just really genius. It's a great idea. The game is an awesome idea. And so, yeah, I'm glad you picked it. And I'm glad it's even being talked about, because it does seem, compared to a lot of the other games this year, kind of minimal. But that's the genius of it.
Well, even the people like ripping it off, it's not like they took this idea that he had and like someone's figured out how to do it better and like, sure, this was the original, but like a lot of the games that are ripping it off and trying to do it themselves are either exactly the same or not as good. So
There's been some cool evolutions of it for sure.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of spawning a genre, which I love to see.
yeah.
But yeah, a lot of games are like shameless about it. I have one on my phone because I was like, I can't play this on my phone. So what do I do? Oh, here's a game that's almost exactly the
I
same.
have to play this game and
Exactly,
I can't do
because
it.
it was that fun. So
Then there's that was it Genesis or Genesia? Something like that. That one game that's like 2.5D that
Oh,
I
yeah,
told
yeah.
you about.
yeah, I looked
like,
at that. It looked really cool. But when I was reading reviews, they said that it doesn't have enough. It doesn't have as much content as Vampire Survivors. Otherwise, they said it's better.
Yeah, which I mean, it's okay. I still
Mm.
prefer Vampire Survivors because there's something charming and like nice, beautiful like pixel art that I
Yeah.
really like
Simplicity.
enjoy. I just think it's so much nicer looking than like weird 2.5D sprites that
Yeah.
are like half 3D and half not. And it's just the art style of Vampire Survivors is so good.
I'm waiting for someone to make a game
Hard
that's
pass
similar to
up.
like Returnal, but you don't shoot. It just does the Vampire Survivors thing, where you're running around and it's just firing for you. I could see that
Just
happening.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, just
I was,
dodge
I
around.
was gonna say much like how Left 4 Dead created games, Payday and
Dark Tide.
games like Payday, Dark Tide, Vermintide.
Mm.
It'll be kind of cool to see where
World
this
War Z.
goes and see who steps up and kind of evolves the genre further.
Yeah, it's exciting because it's creating a new avenue in gaming. It's what we want. We want new shit. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Anything else? Something the only one who hasn't gone. Okay, so
To decide.
I almost picked Vampire Survivors, honestly, which is funny, but I think I'm gonna go with Dying Light 2. My gut keeps telling me that. Every time I look at, I have a whole list, and I kept going like, is this better than this? No, and it's move it all over the list, and just right under God of War Ragnarok and Elden Ring for me is Dying Light 2. The game's awesome. I'm a fan of the original one. I was really excited for this one, and it didn't let me down. I know some people had some complaints about it, but I didn't see it. I think the world is awesome. The atmosphere, just like the first game, is really good. It's really eerie, has this cool vibe to it. The density of zombies in the streets is always there. You always feel like you're surrounded by enemies in a game where you're constantly fighting melee combat. It's got loot with different rarity levels, which is a huge thing for me in a lot of games because I like variety. I like looking for things. It's got skill trees that evolve and change the way that you not only fight, but also the way you do your parkour, which is some of the best parkour in a first-person game ever. Especially when you get everything unlocked, it's fucking a pleasure to run around that city. So much so that even in the first game, when they gave you like the grappling hook, I'm like, I don't even want this. This like defeats the whole fucking game at this point. Like I want to do the parkour. It's that good. This game, it's even better. The story is interesting. I wouldn't say it's like amazing, but it's not bad. I like it. The exploration's awesome. They have these new systems where you can go into during the day. I forgot what the infected are called. Volatiles? Something like that?
Yeah,
Something like that.
volatile. Those are the super beefed up
Oh,
ones,
yeah,
the
yeah.
volatiles.
But they're like indoors during the day, so like there's these like missions or just locations that you can go looking for certain types of loot to get upgrades. Where you're sneaking past in early game. Now he's running and start swinging, but there's just so much to do on the map. There's also choices to make, and some people say they're not real choices, but it literally changes who you're seeing in the cutscenes. So I mean, at the very least, that is a choice. It's changing the way the game's playing out. And how certain missions play out. There's literally a mission. I forgot which one of you guys did the mission, but your mission played out completely different than mine because I sided with, I think it was you. Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause
because
we played together.
me and Josh sided with the same faction, I think.
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the windmill mission was one way, and when I did it with you, we were the ones bombing it. And when I played on mine, I was like doing another mission, and then an explosion happened. I think I was in a subway or something when that happened. I'm like, what happened? And as that happened, I was like, oh, that's really interesting that it's from a different perspective. So there is choice. It does change the game. And so that's something they didn't need to do, but they did. Also, the evolution of the areas as you're progressing through the zones is really neat. Plenty of side quests to do. and just the combat system is awesome, super satisfying. It's not the best ever made, but it is insanely satisfying. I was playing this morning to try and I was like, is this really what I'm gonna pick? And I was playing it for a couple hours, and I hit a dude in the back in his spine with a hammer and went slow-mo, showed an x-ray, showed his spine. He slowly went flying, and then when it got back to normal speed, he went flying over a car and just hurtling into shit. And I'm like, what game can I do this in? Not a whole lot. It's so satisfying. We've been playing Darktide a little bit. Need to play more. And that game's got really fun melee combat. But I was playing this, and I'm like, man, if Darktide had combat like this, holy shit, that'd be a perfect game. Just because it's so fun to fight stuff in Dying Light 2. I said Darktide 2. And the game has full-on co-op, which is amazing. No crossplay, which fucking blows, but co-op in a game like this, it's such a good game. And it is a game similar to Forbidden West, released early. You didn't hear much about it later on. But I didn't forget about it because it's on my mind when I think about the games that resonated with me this year. And a zombie survival co-op game definitely is right up my alley, and definitely a game that I was thinking about when it came to this. So yeah, Dying Light 2. When you picked that, I was like, oh, interesting. I wasn't expecting anyone else to pick that. So
I almost picked it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was playing it earlier, and I was like, why am I not playing this still? I would play this again for sure. So it's a great game.
Is it only 2 people co-op, or is there?
I think it's more than 2-player co-op.
Because maybe I'm thinking let's all fucking play co-op.
I'd be down. I might be thinking of Dead Island, which I want to play Dead Island 2, but the original Dead Island was 4-player co-op, which was just fucking a mess. That whole game was a mess, and in the best way possible, but it was ridiculous. But I feel like the last game was 4-player co-op, but it might be 2-player. So
it's 2-player co-op.
It's 2-player.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
Yeah,
but at least it has it. It's awesome. It's a lot of fun to play. I think it is better than the first game. Though I do think the atmosphere of the first game was a little more creepier. This one is just all around a lot more fun. And the spoiler alert, the game's been out for a little bit. The 2 different zones you get to go to are very different and awesome to explore. So, yeah, really like the game. Especially when I played it today. I was like, I forgot how much I like this game. So, definitely kind of got left behind in terms of coming out early on. So, all right, so that is our game of the year and 2 runner-ups. Great picks, but the whole year was full of a lot of great games. So I want to give a couple shout-outs, and by a couple I mean 12. I'll be fast about it, and then if you guys want to chime in or add your own after I'm done, feel free, but I'm not going to put too much time into this. So 2022, great year. Obviously, Elden Ring, shout out. God of War, Ragnarok, shout out. And Dying Light 2, shout out. Those are my top 3 games. One game that almost made my top 3 was Gran Turismo 7. This is a mainline Gran Turismo. I'm a huge fan of the series, and this one fucking nailed it. The racing's awesome. The graphics are amazing. And it just encompasses and embodies everything that I wanted from a new Gran Turismo. And with my racing wheel, it was fucking awesome. And yeah, great game. Almost made my top 3, but I didn't play it as much as a lot of the other games I played. But what I did play of it is really good. Surprising shout out, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. I like this game a lot more than I thought I was going to like it. I wasn't even going to pick it up, but it's on sale. We've been playing it, and I've put almost 80 hours into it already. I don't know if I like the game or if I like the grind, but I am playing it a lot, and I'm enjoying myself, so it deserves a shout-out. Shout-out to Vampire Survivors. We already went over it. I think it's a genius game. The simplicity is awesome, and the gameplay is just a blast that scratches the monkey brain, where you just keep playing, and you play with friends, which is really weird because you look at the game and you're like, you play that with friends? I guess so. I didn't know, but we did it, and I would do it again. Horizon Forbidden West absolutely deserves a shout out. The game that everyone forgot except for Josh. God bless him. God bless that little guy. But the game's great. I didn't beat it. I did humor putting it in my top 3 because of the quality, but I only got halfway through it, and I figured if I couldn't compel myself to play it further, which I'm gonna now that Josh put on his list, because I'm like, if it was that good, I gotta fucking play it. But it's such a well-made game. It's a lot of fun to play. I had some gripes with some of the writing and the story, but it's an excellent game, and definitely one of the best made games of 2022, easily. Let's see. Shout out to the hero that was a Zonzo before the resurgence of Modern Warfare 2. FPSs were in the trash for years. We weren't getting any new FPSs, and a Zonzo came out, and I played it, and I fucking loved it. And so before Modern Warfare 2 came out, that was my go-to shooter, and it's a blast. If you haven't played it, World War One first-person shooter, it's a lot of fun. On that note, Modern Warfare 2 absolutely deserves a shout out. It is one of the best CODs in like the last 8 years, easily. It's a lot of fun. The multiplayer is great. When it comes down to what they're doing with COD, I am on this side of the divide. I do prefer what they're doing with Call of Duty now than what they were doing before and where it's going. So I'm glad that this is falling 2019 and taking that trajectory and just moving with that, because I really like what they're doing with Call of Duty right now. Shout out to the forgotten game that is Ghostwire Tokyo. I played this game. I beat this game. Fucking loved it. Just it wasn't as good as it could have been, but it's a great start. I would love a sequel to it. But yeah, the game came and went real quick. Shout out to Evil Dead, the game. Really great game.
Oh, yeah.
Had a blast playing
Oh, yeah.
it. I would definitely want to return to it. A lot of us here have played it, except for Chevy. And it's just a really fun game. But this is from people who make World War Z, which I think is one of the best games in that genre. So I expected a fun game. Same people who are making the Space Marine 2, which I'm really excited about, because that game looks fucking dope too.
Dang.
Yeah, these guys just make fun games. Evil Dead is a lot of fun. It's really great. I would like to return to it. Speaking of Warhammer 40K Darktide, shout out to Darktide. I almost wanted to humor putting it in my top 3, but I haven't played it enough, and I have some gripes with it. So, but overall, it's a really fun game. It's great, and it's being praised by everybody who's played it. I feel like I'm the only person who's not like completely in love with it, but it's a really good game. I really like it. If you like Vermintide, any of them, you're gonna like this. It's that, except for 40K. And then my last shout out is Stray, of course. The little engine that could, the indie darling. It is a great game. I really enjoyed it. I did humor putting it in my top 3, but I felt like somebody else would probably do that, so I would give the stage to them and pick my own Dying Light 2. But Stray's great. I really enjoyed it. Beat it in like 8 hours. Super charming. We already talked about it, but you know, it's a great game. And if you're a fan of cats, you have to play it. And that is my shout outs. Does anybody have any shout outs?
You kind of already took care of them
Yeah.
for me. So
Yeah, same here.
Nailed them.
I got some lists.
Got some lists? All right.
They're shorter than your list, I think.
Well, I got other lists too, but if you have shout outs, you want to do those?
Yeah, I guess I will shout out to Evil Dead the game,
Okay.
Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, and Isanzo. I feel like I can't ever say it for some reason.
Izanzo.
Italian. No, just kidding.
Maybe
Sonzo.
Maybe it's
Just kidding.
Isanzo?
Isanzo.
Isanzo.
I don't
Yeah.
know. We
I don't
need
know.
an
No,
Italian
that sounds
to tell
about
us.
right.
Those are my shout outs.
All right.
Nice.
Fair enough. And nobody's got any others?
No, that you,
Okay.
Darktide was one of mine. I mean, that one's really fun to play. The only thing is like it just has for me, you know, there's some network issues.
Oh, yeah.
Things like that drive me nuts, and I can't. There's a lot of things that I mean, I could sit through and play a buggy game, but when you're halfway through a match or you're 3/4 of the way through a match and you're kicked out of that match, that's
rough.
irredeemable for me.
Yeah, because that
Yeah.
game, you don't accrue XP over time. You accrue it by
Exactly.
completing the mission. So if you don't complete the mission, yeah, hopefully you had fun because that's all you got out of it. So
Yeah, exactly.
it's annoying,
So, but that has opportunity to be. I mean, it's going to be. I mean, they're going to keep working on it. There's a lot of people that like that game, but yeah, there's that one. I really want to play as Zonzo though. That looked really fun.
It's-
Just getting back into first-person shooters, so
Yeah.
that's definitely on my list as well. So
if you pick up a Zonzo, let me know because I would easily play it again.
yeah,
I was cracking out on it.
yeah, I have a shout out, but I guess it's kind of more of a regret. So
I got a regret list if you want to hold it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'll get to that after this. So Any other shout-outs?
Nope.
All right, so I'm going to jump into my regrets list, and then Josh, make sure to piggyback on this. So, these regrets are games that you wanted to play? Is that what you mean by regret?
Or wanted to play more. Yeah, I wanted to play more of.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm also saying. So, okay, so my regret list is Plague Tale Requiem. This game, I heard nothing but great things about. I haven't played it. I didn't even beat the first game. That's why I didn't play this. And I liked the first game, but the gameplay was like okay, but the storytelling was like really good. And I've heard nothing but amazing things about this game. So I'm upset that I didn't get the opportunity to play it because with how much I've heard positive things about this, I feel like it might have been in my top 3. On that note, another big regret that I can fix anytime, I just haven't, is the Callisto Protocol. I've been hyped about this game all fucking year. It came out, and I heard a lot of problems with it from people's concerns about the gameplay. People saying it's short. I don't care about that. But also, the big thing for me is I guess it was very buggy and glitchy, and so I was waiting until that got patched. And so I can hop in any time at this point, but I didn't play it, and I wanted to play it, so it's a huge regret, and I will play it. One of my biggest regrets of 2022 is Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I haven't played it. I really want to play it. I just don't have the time. I know it's going to take like 50, 60 hours probably to play through that game, and I just have not had that kind of time to sit down and play through a JRPG. So that's a huge regret for me. Another regret that would be easy to fix is The Quarry. I wanted to play it. Didn't play it. I like what they do with their campy horror games. And I'm going to play it at some point. I'm sure when I do play it, it'll probably be on sale and be great. And I won't regret anything. But as of right now, can't even talk about it. I didn't even fucking play it, so it sucks. Another big regret for me is Outriders World Slayer. I like Outriders a lot. I like playing it. It's a lot of fun. World Slayer came out. I was super excited for it, but something else I was playing a lot at that time, and I just prioritized that game over World Slayer. I still haven't played it, so obviously I can go back and play it, but I didn't, and it couldn't be even considered for me, so that sucks. And then my last big regret is not really that big a regret, but I should have fucking played it. The Last is Part 1. The reason I didn't play it is because I prioritized games that I've already played, or I haven't played the story of already. And this game looks amazing, and I will play it at some point, but I have beaten the original Last of Us, I think 8 times, 7 or 8 times. So I know the story just fine. And if there's other games to play that I haven't played, I'm going to prioritize those, and I did. So I'll get around to playing Last of Us Part 1 at some point. But yeah, it just wasn't a priority for me. That's my big regrets. Josh, you want to let us know?
Yeah, just a real quick backup. Shout out Cult of the Lamb.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's a regret as well. I want to play that. Didn't play it.
But at the end of that, I only have 3 on my list. One is the Front Mission remake. I didn't get a chance to play that.
Did that come out?
I really wanted to. Yeah, it's out.
What? Yeah, that's a regret for me too.
One I wanted to play more of / shout out was Medieval Dynasty. I think it's a really kind of unique survival game where you're straight building a village.
Did that come out this year?
Yes.
September.
It came out. Yeah. So I'm really glad that I got to try it, but I would have liked to spend a little more time with it. I just don't have the fucking time.
I feel it.
And then
you got kids.
And then my last regret is Choo Choo Charles. I've been seeing it all over the damn place.
Yeah, we all need to get together and play that.
I was really wanting to try it. I just haven't been able to. So those are my regrets.
Yeah. Choo Choo Charles looks I hear people complaining that it's like short, but other than that they say it's awesome. Because like the train is like organically moving around the island. It's not just like a timer. So like this one guy was describing that like you'll be doing something, you look over on the hillside and he's like walking around and you're like, oh shit, is he coming this way? But then he'll walk away. Or sometimes he'll see you like over on the hillside and he starts fucking coming and you gotta like run back to the train and get going. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
That does sound cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just seems like a neat, like I said, like with Stray, it's just one of those, I mean, even if it's short, who cares? If it's like a tight experience, then
Yeah, for sure.
like, I mean, and I can enjoy it, then who gives a shit?
Yeah.
True. Preach. Got any regrets?
Yep. World Slayers for sure. Outriders is a game that I really, really enjoyed was kind of one of the surprises for me last year. So I was really looking forward to that, and just never got to it, and then it sort of got left behind. And then the Valheim expansion.
Oh yeah.
Or DLC or
Missed
whatever
something.
it is. Yeah. I really would have liked to have tried that out. Not that I can't still, but
I have a super solid
year.
plan. The next time we get, because when I start playing, I'm sure you guys are going to want to hop in too. Next time we all start playing that game, I want to start a new server where we're all working on the exact same base. We're not doing the survival game thing where we all have our own things. Because in that game, as you play, things start attacking your base. And I'm like, well, if it's going to be like that, we should be working together on that.
Yeah.
So build a whole base, progress through it together, get to the Mistlands or whatever the hell.
And it's kind of in the same sort of realm as that. One of my regrets as well is Icarus. Play more of that game. That came out this year, right?
It came out late or the middle of December
early.
of last year, but it still
okay,
counts.
so-
I almost was going to put that
gotcha.
on my list.
Yeah,
But I was
'cause
like,
that
I
too,
want to
I
stay
mean,
in
that-
this year. But yeah, it was like so late.
Definitely gone through some updates, and it
Yeah.
seems a
So
little
many
bit tighter than it
updates.
was. And yeah, so I'm really want to jump back into that as well.
Yeah, apparently they've added a bunch of shit, and they have like this might appease Chevy a bit. They have a free roam mode now, where it's like just the game, but you don't have to leave the mission. And they just added that you can have the lander come in anywhere, which I don't understand how that works now, because I thought it was kind of interesting. You had to make it back to your rocket, but I guess now you can call it in anywhere. I don't know how that works though. So
Gotta revisit that.
and there's mounts,
Oh yeah.
which is weird. Yeah,
Wow.
I want to play it again
yeah.
because I really liked that
It's
game.
fucking turning into Rust. It's just let's
Better.
add this. Let's add that. Let's add this.
It's
No,
better.
of course. I'm
Fucking
just,
better
I'm
than
just making
Rust,
a
dude.
joke. Rust still doesn't know what it wants to be.
True. Okay, any more regrets?
Nope.
No more glizzies.
Oh, no more glitches.
Anybody got any regrets?
Oh, I think that would kind of covered a
Pokemon.
lot of them.
You guys are feeling
Okay.
comfortable in
Oh
life?
shit, Pokemon.
All right.
All right, cool. My next category is my biggest surprises of 2022. These are games that I just was not expecting much from, and I got more out of them than I thought that I would get. It's a shorter list, but this is kind of to back up Izanzo a little bit until I played Izanzo and forgot about it. But there's a game called Shatterline that is a free-to-play Ukrainian-made first-person shooter
fun.
that's very Call of Duty-like. And before Call of Duty came out, and during a time where Call of Duty just kind of sucked, Shatterline kind of filled that void for a little bit. We played it a little bit, and it's not the best game ever, but it's better than it deserves to be. And I had fun playing it. So that was
It
kind of
reminded me of Blacklight Retribution.
yeah.
A little bit.
That game was. They didn't make another one of those.
Yeah,
So
Like,
shout out to the to Shatterline's co-op mode, the PVE, where
Yeah,
it's like
PvE.
The
a
roguelike thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
most
thought it
people
was-
say it's better than the PvP. So
Yeah.
I thought it was like a really cool, unique addition.
Yeah, the game offered a lot, and you could level. It took a note from Call of Duty in the sense that you could level either way. Like you weren't wasting time playing this mode or that mode. It all went to the same thing. So really good design, and a small team that worked on that. Really cool. Had a couple network issues for me. I thought the aiming was kind of wonky, but other than that, it was solid. So. Shatterline, that was a big surprise for me. One of the biggest surprises for me this year was Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. I kind of gave up on Borderlands. I played Borderlands 3. I hated the story, but the gameplay is the best it's ever been. This takes that gameplay and puts it into a world that doesn't take itself as serious because they're playing around with what they're doing with the D&D thing. And the gameplay is super solid. The loot is solid. The co-op is solid. The story can be dorky because Gearbox just doesn't have good writers anymore, but there's some stuff to it I kind of liked that because they're just having fun with it, and it had a much better villain, even though he's not that great. He's better than the villain, and I kind of hit like rock bottom with Borderlands 3, and I feel like this is a step up, so it felt good. I felt like, oh, I'm enjoying Borderlands again. That's great. And changing grenades over to spells and stuff just felt refreshing, and the end game is fucking fun. So yeah, big surprise for me. It was completely off my radar, and I was like, on sale, I'll try it, and then I've been playing it a lot. So another huge surprise for me is Multiverses. Also, shout out to
dude,
Multiverses.
holy shit! I forgot about Multiverses.
Yeah, Yeah,
Great game. Yeah.
huge shout out and huge surprise. I'm very much like Chevy. I'm a little less judgmental of it than Chevy is of platform
Hate
fighters.
Smash Likes.
Huh?
I hate Smash Likes.
Yeah, yeah. Chevy hates them. I'm not the
Plays
biggest
really
fan of them.
this one is
Not
just
even
smooth.
remotely interested.
Yeah, but I don't. This one's just
This is good,
addicting.
though.
I don't know what it is. This scratches an itch for me, but
Yeah, when
I get it.
when we were playing, it was a blast, and even me and Sarah played a couple times, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
She wasn't even interested in
Yeah.
playing it. She was like Chevy, like, I don't really like this kind of games. Then we played it. We're having fun.
Yeah.
So huge surprise.
Mhm.
Especially with they have such a weird array of characters that's really interesting.
Marvin the Martian now. It's
Oh,
weird.
really?
It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm
they just
behind.
added
I
him.
need to fucking get back into it. But
Black Adam, Marvin the Martian, a lot of they keep adding. It's very very supportive.
Bugs
Huge
Bunny doing all
in-
this crazy
in
fucking
the,
sorcerer shit.
Yeah, huge in the fighting circuit, the fighting game circuit. Huge.
Yeah, and it's just like
anyway.
way better than it should be. Go ahead.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Quick shout out. Me winning 100% of my matches online, still at 100% win rate. So
You retire 100% win rate.
yep,
Played the one.
I won one with Seth, and then I was like, yeah, buddy, and then I just stopped playing. So
Good move.
Yeah, and then he went
Good
straight to
move.
Twitter and said he had a 100% win rate. It's not even accurate.
Yeah.
So yeah, Multiverse is a huge surprise for me. It's really good. It's weird that it's like as good as it is. The team behind that knocked out of the park. Those guys were serious about making a platform fighter. No one's even come close to being able to offer something that's even like. Wouldn't you just rather play Smash Bros? Like, no, this game's solid. And I like that it emphasizes fighting against people more than random objects and chucking them around and shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then my last big surprise that I'm still unraveling as of right now is High on Life. I didn't expect much from this game. I remember watching the trailers and going like, yeah, it looks pretty interesting, pretty funny. Saw a couple clips. I'm like, oh, it looks pretty funny. But is it just going to be a funny game? I've been playing it, and it's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. The humor's there. The world's interesting as much as it can be. It kind of takes me back to like Conker's Bad Fur Day style of like gaming in the sense that it's like people don't even make comedies anymore. So that this game's even trying to be funny is interesting to me, and it merges with the gameplay. It's not even that the gameplay and the progression's what's keeping me going, but like that there's nonstop new jokes happening as I'm playing. I'm never bored just playing through it. But then it also has things where like you get the knife and now you can like use it as a zip line to get, or a grappling hook to get around, changing up the gameplay, and then like you start unlocking different upgrades and stuff like that. It's got some gameplay mechanics that I would expect from your average shooter, but it's under this very unique comedy story that's telling, and it just feels super unique. So it's a huge surprise for me, and that's my list. Anybody got any surprises?
Isanzo was surprisingly good. So
Yeah, I had to kind of like
once
not
you
sell you on it, but like I told you about it, you're like, oh yeah, and then like you picked it up and you end up liking it.
So that was a pretty big surprise. Again, Medieval Dynasty was really good. Tanky's Wonderlands, that was a surprise too, considering I was on the same boat with Borderlands just not being Borderlands anymore, other than how it played. Other than that's Vampire Survivors.
Sure.
I guess it'd be a good surprise.
I still
because-
remember the day you came over and I was like, have you played the Vampire Survivors game? And you're like, no. And I'm like, it's like this. I started describing like, I'll just show you. And I started playing it. I'm like, here, check it out. And you started playing, and Sarah came down and we started just like swapping out. We played for like 6 hours straight. And then you went home and then I saw you load it up and you were just playing at home. I was like, he didn't get enough, dude.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, I instantly went home and bought it. So
Yeah.
good. I mean, yeah, probably that's my surprise list at least.
All right. I have one more list, and then we can go through your lists if you want. This one will be fun. My biggest disappointments of 2022. So this is games that either I was really excited about and they weren't that great, or games that just weren't good at all. Mostly just games that disappointed me, obviously. So the first one I'll say is Scorn. The game is really cool looking, but it's not even a first person shooter. It's a first person game that has like a part where you shoot things, and the shooting's horrible. Super cool looking game, obviously inspired by H.R. Geiger, but that's all it has for it. Even the people who were like ready for that game and like super stoked about it, they were like, this game's not that great. And no one talked about it afterwards. So huge disappointment, not necessarily for me, but for a lot of people. But yeah, I was like, oh, the game looks cool. Played it. I'm like, nah, I'm not going to play a hallway game. Like, you can call Death Stranding a walking simulator fucking any day. It's not. This game's a walking simulator, okay? Huge disappointment. I think this came out this year. Lost Ark.
Yeah.
That came out in 2022.
Yeah, March, I think.
This game I've been hyped for fucking years. Played it, loved it. I was like, dude, this game's sick. Like, this might be like my go-to MMO now. We had people fucking playing with us, which was great. Almost everybody here, if not everybody here, and other people part of the community, people in the Discord, we're all playing together. Built a fucking guild or whatever the hell it's called in that game. Having fun. Hit end game. Boom. Hit a fucking wall. I hate the end game. It's not fun. It's not cool. Hey, stop looking at the list. What are you doing?
I'm
What are you looking at the list for?
looking for baby.
And by baby, we have a little guy walking around here. Not a real baby.
Dog baby.
Dog baby.
Where's that baby at?
Yeah, he's just wandering.
Baby just walking
People would be like,
around?
you guys have a baby? Is it even yours?
Where's his list?
Yeah.
Where's that list, baby?
Baby, where's your list? Yeah, Lost Ark was a huge disappointment because I liked it so much and had so much potential, but the end game was so badly done that like it just killed. I tried to like get into it and be like, well, I'll play by the rules, but I'm like, I don't fucking like this. I'm not having fun at all. So I stopped playing it, which is a huge disappointment for me. Another huge disappointment for me is Marauders, although it's got a very positive rating now, so maybe they fixed it. Maybe I should return to it. But Marauders is that Tarkov-like game where you're in space. I was very excited for it. I want more games like this. I played it. I remember reading the reviews, and people were like, people will literally glitch into your ship and just kill you without even boarding correctly. And I'm like, oh, that's crazy. Hopefully it's like once every while. First time I ever got into a match, someone did it to me. And I was like, I'm out of here. If it's that common, or my first round ever, it's gonna happen to me, I'm gonna spend my money somewhere else for now. So I'll return to it at some point, but it's a huge disappointment. It wasn't a huge disappointment because I didn't expect it to be good, but that it was just not good at all. And I kind of knew it was going to happen, which is kind of disappointing that they would even spend that time on working on it. And this is Resident Evil Reverse. Such a stupid idea. Like, it's the character models look great.
I wrecked that game though. You could be really good.
Oh,
if you're
dude,
not
I
good
was
at-
fucking
you could just-
destroying people.
Yeah. Oh, same here.
But you can't crouch. You just run,
No,
roll, and unload.
Yeah.
And there's one game mode.
Makes you fuming. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm at the point now where I'm like, dude, okay, you already built the game, you already built the system, the engine, everything like that. Make this game better, because what you have right now is fucking awful. So
It could be fun. It could be really,
could
really,
be.
really fun. But it's just like very bare bones. It's just like, here you go. Like
it's so bare bones.
Yeah,
It's like a joke. It's like,
yeah,
what?
it's like
If it was
should
just
be
like a
free-to-play
tacked on
game.
little feature, like you play Village and it's like, you want to play reverse mode? I'd be like, yeah, okay. But it's a standalone game. I'm like,
be a loading screen for the game or for another game. Yeah, just like
I'm like, you expect people to stick around and play this and build a community. It's not going to happen. And then I looked at the roadmap and she's like, we're going to introduce new cosmetics. I'm like, to a game that barely you do anything in? What am I going to do? Look cool while I fucking just do not team deathmatch. Just do deathmatch?
Yep.
What are you, high? It's horrible. And then my last disappointment, and I think this is everyone's disappointment, Saints Row. Fucks up with that game.
Mm-hmm.
I even gave it the chance, right? I was like, you know what? It's probably going to be fun co-op. So me and Josh tried to play some co-op. And every single time I had like a meter and I'm reaching fun, I start forgetting about that this game's kind of like soulless. I'm like, we're running around, we're shooting shit, we're doing stuff. It's cool. We can do missions together, even though we have to like load into them independently each time. He has to ask, or I have to ask him for permission or some shit to join my mission. Crazy networking glitches would happen that would just break the game. So much so that like Josh was like in my car while driving, getting out of my car, getting on the roof and doing all sorts of shit. And I'm telling Josh, like, what are you doing? He's like, what do you mean? I'm back here. I'm like, back where? He's like, back when we got in the car. I'm like, dude, I'm like miles away. What are you talking about? And he's just back there fucking watching me drive in place. We're playing completely different instances. And so I'm like, even when I tried to give you a fucking chance on this game, you didn't give me a chance on having fun with it. And so it's a huge disappointment. And I just saw today, somebody, I think it was Big Fry, was like, did they ever patch the networking problems in Saints Row? Did anyone hear about that? And no one had an answer. Like no one's even playing to know. And there's no announcements. Like what's even going on with that game? So huge disappointment. And hopefully Volition, rest in peace, can find some guidance under Gearbox now that they've been moved there. Those are my disappointments, and that's all my lists.
Yeah, I guess actually Saints Row just got a huge like bug patch.
Good.
So it may, I don't know, it may be running better now, but I haven't fucking played it since we played it. So
yeah.
And when I loaded back in, my character was your character for some reason.
Yeah. That's so ridiculous.
I had to change his ass up like all the way again. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
I literally, because that was such a regular thing of people who play with people, their character would turn into them. I made my character disgusting. Just so if you ever played with me, you would have to be that character. I designed my character with that glitch in mind. That's how buggy that game is. So anyway, anyone got any disappointments they want to share?
Yeah, I have Scorn and Lost Ark on my list as well, so I won't dwell on those too much. But I have Rainbow Six Extraction on my list.
Fuck that! That's a shout out for me. That game was pretty fun. I'm the only guy on the planet
I think
thinks
that's
that.
why. No, I absolutely loved playing that game, and that's why I was so disappointed with it, because I just wanted to play it more. Like I wish that there was more to it. That it just felt like an addition to some other game. Like it didn't feel like there was enough there to like keep people playing it.
Can I say the boldest thing I ever said in the history of mankind? This game is on my surprise list because it's better than I thought it'd be. Yeah. It's on my shout out list because I enjoyed playing with you guys, but it's also on my disappointment list because the game's kind of a fucking burning pile of trash.
That's how I feel about it, and that's why I was disappointing, because I kept wanting to like it, and like we played it a fair amount together, and
it was fun.
It's like I wish that I could justify playing it more, but I just can't, because there are other games that we play together that are better.
I wish I could justify allocating space in my brain to fucking remember the game. Because I completely forgot it existed. When you said Rainbow Six, I'm like, Rainbow Six what? Siege? It's been out for years, bro.
Same thing. I completely forgot that it came out this year.
Yeah, we played it together.
We played it a lot.
That memory's just gone until she unlocked it.
Yeah.
That's my disappointment list.
All right. Anybody else got disappointments?
I got 2, but then I realized that one actually released last year, so it doesn't count.
Say it anyway for fun.
Back for Blood.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
We can just mention that.
Fuck that. That's mine too. I'm piggybacking on yours.
They released content this year.
Fuck that game.
But I just looked it up, and I thought it released this year, but it released October last year.
Yeah.
Close. Got me all fucked up too.
Other than that, Evil West.
Oh yeah, you don't like that game.
I do not like this game.
Dang.
This reminds me of a PS2 game. Like it should have came out.
It is.
It's a PS2 game. That's the thing, and like that's kind of the charm of it. Is like it's like a game of old, but like it is fucking too old for me to enjoy myself. Like
you sound like Leonardo DiCaprio when it comes to his girlfriends. Nailed it.
Just moving.
Like
just moving on.
Go into a room, and then it was just like, and then that little thing was blinking on top of something, so you knew you had to go over there and mantle over it, and like the combat was okay. It was melee focused, which I do like, but then they integrated a shield, and that worked okay. So it was a bunch of meh, and I thought it was going to be on the back of Shadow Warrior 3 not performing that well. I figured they would kind of right the reins, because Shadow Warrior 2 is fucking dope.
Oh yeah, no, it's
And
it's way better than it should be.
so,
First one wasn't
but
that
like,
great.
but they didn't. So it was just like this super fucking linear ass, horrible level design game that I couldn't get fucking behind at all.
Hmm.
And I remember when I shut it off, I was like, have I played 2 hours? It was like a minute 30, and I was like, refund, fucking right now.
Yeah,
Fuck that.
I mean, to be fair, I haven't really played it a whole lot since I first played it, but I liked it. But
I liked it too.
I just need to play it more. But also, when you hit me up and told me you didn't like it, I was like, okay. I mean, it's not a game that really seemed like it was like gonna be for sure awesome. So, and it is definitely older in its design.
Like, you guys know me. I enjoy weird fucking janky ass
You like those Eurojank games.
year like Alex and fucking games like that and Biomutant and shit. So like it should have been like right up my alley for like not necessarily janky, but like that old school kind of feel that, but no. I was thinking, oh, it's like Remnant of the Ashes, which is actually good. And then we
Preach.
got this game.
Yeah,
So,
fair. Anything else?
no.
And no more disappointments for
Definitely
anybody.
no.
All right, what list you got?
I just made a short list of games that I really enjoyed, but I felt like need more time to either develop or just like more time to cook.
We'll call it the undercooked list.
Yeah. So I have Warhammer 40k Darktide.
Okay, fair.
Absolutely love 40k. So, and I see what they've done with like Vermintide. I feel so confident that they can get there and make this game that is gonna be exactly what I want it to be. But I just don't think they're there yet.
Mm-hmm.
Ready or Not is on my list.
That new update.
Oh,
And
It's real good.
I haven't played the new update yet, but I feel like there's so much more they can do with that game that but it's so much fun. I just like playing it. So that, and then Medieval Dynasty is on that list because
Co-op.
it definitely needs co-op, and I have played like 40 or 50 hours of that game, and I still don't know if they've done enough. I don't know, like, if I play it again, is the experience going to be exactly the same? I kind of suspect that it will be. I think that there's more they can do to make this open world survival thing that it feels like they're trying to do, but they just haven't quite gotten there yet.
Yeah.
That's it.
yeah.
I mean, I agree with the ones I've played. Except for Ready or Not, I do think they need to add more to that game just because I like it. It's a similar situation of like Remnant. I wanted more content, blah, blah, blah. The new update adds quite a bit. But what was the first one I said? Oh, Darktide. I 100% agree with that. I should be just going crazy on that game. That's my kind of game. The game is awesome. But even during like the beta, I was just like, this is... I'm putting a lot of time into this game. I don't feel like I'm getting a lot back. I feel like I'm doing a lot of the same thing over and over again. So I'm going to give it time to get to a point where it's more exciting. So yeah, that was, I wouldn't say a disappointment, but definitely I acknowledge it's a game that I'm putting in reserve for later.
I wasn't disappointed in any of these games. They're just games that I know are going to get better, and I don't want them to not get a shout out because, 2 years from now it's going to be, a contender. Could have been a contender for Game of the year it came out. But
contender. That movie, dude? You ever seen that movie? She looked at me like I was making fun of her, and I was like, it's like, that's a movie reference. Come on. Should have been a contender. Yeah. Any other lists?
Nope.
Anybody else got anything they want to say? Any lists, shout outs, anything? Chevy looks like he's about to take a nap. He's a big
Got a
sleepy
raid.
boy. Huh?
Said he's got a raid.
Yeah, true.
Gotta save that energy.
He's got a raid soon. But yeah, overall, great year in gaming. some huge titles, almost too many
Fucking A.
big ones to go up against each other, making picking the game of the year very difficult, but we did it, and I'm proud of everybody for doing that. And yeah, really, really good year. Let's look forward to 2023, and when we do this
it's
all
gonna be
over
good.
again, it's gonna be good. There's some huge
I
games.
think it's gonna be good.
Okay, Armored
it's gonna be
Core
good.
6 is coming out next year. I am fucking going crazy over
I'm
that.
curious. Yeah,
That's one of my
it's-
most
yeah.
hyped games now. As soon as
Oh,
that
yeah.
got announced, I was like, oh shit, dude, finally. That's Stranding 2. Does that come out next year?
I was just gonna ask that.
I I think he's gonna have a blowout of it next year, but I'm gonna assume it's probably. That trailer looked really good.
It looks pretty far along, but that could just be
Yeah,
all cinematics. We didn't see
2024.
gameplay, so. But yeah, 2023 is gonna be awesome, and yeah, that's a wrap though. Elden Ring, God of War, all the rest of the games.
Looking
Shout
at it.
out, and yeah, that's gonna do it for this game of the year. Thank you, Sarah, Cody, Josh, and Chevy. Does anybody have anything they want to shout out, Josh?
Hunter Call of the Wild, because you get to hunt, and like I was saying earlier, it's the ultimate stealth game.
That
And-
and you have a TikTok.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, we were talking about
give that
that.
shit some free press, dude. Give yourself some free press. Come on
Yeah,
now.
dude. Tell people where they can find you.
I do a TikTok every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Just gaming, in case you missed it. Every once in a while, there's a deep dive. I just finished a 5-parter on the Activision Microsoft acquisition. So, and the problems therein with it. So, if you guys want a little bit of that or enjoy, some of the insider workings of how the game industry works, come check me out. It's called Genesis Point, all one word.
Yeah, get a little taste of that. Get a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Definitely check it out. Also check out my TikTok. It's linked down below. And yeah, thank you guys for joining me for this conversation. It was a really good
Yeah.
one. Always a pleasure. And thank you guys for watching. Until next episode, which will be something. I think we got Plus Club and Game of the Month coming up really soon. I'm sure we'll do something in between now and then. Have a good one, guys, and take it easy.